Hi, scholars. I've missed you so much. This story, The Great Kapok Tree by Lynn Sherry, is for Jeremiah, Laila, Reba Ann, and MyÓnna, who specifically wanted me to read this one. The two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the rainforest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures reached the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to the great kapok tree. Then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack! 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 The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. Lulled means it's kind of like a song, a lullaby that you listen to go to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash, or the slice, the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. I wonder what he will do. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Senor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. I wonder if he's hearing them. Maybe it will change his mind if he is. Looks like he's still sleeping. A troop of monkeys, that's a group. A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert. It sounds like many of the animals are trying to convince him. A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the row flew down from the canopy. Senor, squawked the toucan, you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the main forest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain. A small and bright tree frog crawled up along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaking voice, he piped into the man's ear. Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree. A jaguar had been sleeping along a branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, Senor, The kapok tree is my home, and many birds and animals too. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner? 4 tree porcupines. I didn't even know porcupines lived in the trees. Swung down from branch to branch and whispered to the man, Senor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to survive? Oxygen. And Senor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life. I wonder what Jesus would want him to do. Several anteaters climbed down from the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future, and surely you know what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees. A 3-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did he reach the ground. Sloths are so slow, aren't they? Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes? A child from the Yanomami tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over to the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, Senor, are you awake? Please look upon us all with new eyes. The man woke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures who depended on the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. Look at all the animals. All of those animals would not have a home if he chops the tree down. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume, the strong, sweet-smelling smell of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the rainforest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. I wonder what he's going to do. Who thinks he'll walk away? Who thinks he'll chop it down? He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. Praise God, he listened to all of those animals and the little boy that came to talk to him. If you look at those areas in green, that's where our rainforests are in our world. We don't have any in North America where we live, but there is some in Central America, South America, Africa, Asia, all these islands near Australia. The rainforest is pretty important. I hope you've enjoyed the book, scholars. I've enjoyed reading it to you. Thanks, and you'll have to check out some of the ones that the other kids voted for too, because I think you'll like them as well. Talk to you soon. I love you. Bye bye.